when it comes to these Democrats and being willing to do and say anything, in order to maintain power, here we have one of these ladies, Democrats, people who is voted in to represent you, the American public, literally admitting that they are keeping the government shut down as leverage. Here we go.
I mean, shutdowns are terrible. And of course, there will be, families that are going to suffer. We take that responsibility very seriously. But it is one of the few leverage times we have. I mean, shutdowns are terrible. And of course, there will be, families that are going to suffer. We take that responsibility very seriously.
I hope you feel better, because guys, they take that so seriously. Okay, look, they're shutting down the government. People aren't getting paid, people are losing benefits, people are suffering in the streets, but I just want you to know that they take it seriously, but they need to use you for leverage to get what they want. Okay, they don't want to. By the way, this woman right here is feeling none of the effects of the government shutdown, because every single person in Congress is still getting paid. They don't care how long they get things shut down. They don't care how it's affecting hardworking men and women, taxpayers. They don't care whatsoever, because they continue getting paid. It's totally fine for them. They can keep it shut down as long as they want, because they're millionaires, many of them. And for them, it's politically convenient. In Chuck Schumer's words, every day gets better for us in regards to the shutdown. Bernie Sanders, if you reopen the government, we lose our leverage. The party will not concede short of planes falling out of the sky. We would have enough votes if people were not terrified of getting the guillotine. There will be families that are going to suffer, but it is one of the few leverage times we have. I mean, just right out of their mouths, out of the horse's mouth, okay? They're using this as an opportunity to have leverage, to get the things they want, to placate the extremist portion of their base. I mean, you have to believe it when they're telling you that. Quite literally. They are saying to your face, this is why they are doing it. Not for any lofty goals, not to any greater purpose, just that they can maintain power and placate the most extreme portion of their base. It's just insanity.
The person who can answer that question is Chuck Schumer and his Democrat colleagues in the Senate. They've now voted a dozen times to keep the government closed. And this is really important, Caitlin. Today, there was a big development on Capitol Hill that the second highest ranked House Democrat in leadership, Whip Catherine Clark, admitted openly that they have shut the government down and that they are using hardworking American families as leverage for what? So that they can show a fight against Trump, and also so that they can restore $200 billion in free health care paid for by U.S. taxpayers to illegal aliens. Yes, that's in their bill, and it's just part of the $1.5 trillion that they have demanded to spend. We're not going to do that. They know we're not going to do that. And she said in her own words today, quote, "We know that families will suffer, but this is one of the leverage times that we have." She said that in her own words, and it was pretty shocking today to hear them say that. They usually don't say the quiet parts out loud.
But they are. They are so confident that people are not paying attention and that a vast majority of the population will vote blue no matter who, that they will follow along anything as long as it's anti-Trump, as long as there's a rainbow flag in front of it, as long as there's some sort of Palestinian flag in front of it. They don't care. As long as, as long as they get their extremists happy. That's it. It's all about power. It's all about control.
Here we are.
It's all about placating the extreme portion of the base. But believe it or not, there actually are some Democrats who care more about the American people. And it's coming from the least likely place.
Hi, here we are, and our government remains closed. and I think that's failure. And I'm the guy that's going to consistently vote for country over party. I'm always going to vote for paying our military over the party. I'm always going to vote for paying the Capitol Police over my party. And I'm going to continue to fight for the 2 million Pennsylvanians that depend on SNAP to feed themselves. And I'm also going to fight for the same 400,000 Pennsylvanians that depend on those tax credits to make health insurance more affordable. Two things are true, and now we can fight for all of them as long as our government is open. My vote is going to remain firmly on keeping our government open, and I'm going to continue to fight for all of those Pennsylvanians that I'm honored to represent here.
Thank God for that brain damage that happened to John Fetterman, right? Like, holy shit, dude. Like, somehow he got the stroke or the brain damage or whatever it was, and he started making sense, whatever it was, you know? I don't know what happened to him, but I personally would have loved if Dr. Oz was in his place right now, but that didn't happen. But it seems like he's our guy anyways, you know? I think maybe getting close to death allows you to see the light a little bit, you know? Maybe it awakens you, you know, because we are not woke, we are awake. That's what it is. Not woke, awake. And it's good to be awake. It's good to see what's really going on here, you know? And what's this all about? You know, what is all this other than the fact that they're giving illegal aliens healthcare, all this stuff? A lot about this, they keep on saying it over and over again. It's about giving Americans healthcare benefits, all this stuff. Really what it is maintaining the Biden era, or sorry, not Biden. Maintaining the Obama era subsidies for healthcare, which in many ways made it more expensive for hardworking men and women of the United States of America to get healthcare. This is, of course, Obamacare. Obamacare, which was a failure across the board. Pretty much everyone said it was a failure. And these are actually restrictions that Democrats put in that were supposed to expire right here. This is of their own doing. And they're shutting down the government for other reasons, whether it be LGBTQ in the Sudan or all these other insane parts of the $1.5 trillion, right? But a lot of it also is to maintain the failing Barack Hussein Obamacare. Let's get a little idea about what this Obamacare has been and what it is. Here we go.
It's been 15 years since President Obama signed the Affordable Care Act into law, better known as Obamacare.
If you like your doctor, you will be able to keep your doctor, period. You will be able to keep your health care plan, period.
But it has also come with a pretty big price tag, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, it's an unbelievable amount of money when you really look at the numbers here. So the subsidies have grown a lot, from about $50 billion a year in 2020 to more than $120 billion now. Just since COVID, American taxpayers have spent around $440 billion on subsidies entirely.
A key part of the COVID relief bill creates the most significant changes to the Affordable Care Act since it was passed more than 10 years ago. Among other changes, some important provisions include providing larger subsidies to buy insurance.
Taxpayers are the ones footing the bill, and premiums for people who are not getting these subsidies can still be really high.
It only took 15 years, but the Washington Post admitting that Obama's notorious Affordable Care Act was never actually affordable.
Once you habituate people to some generous government handout, they grow dependent on it. It becomes politically perilous, if not impossible, to fully claw it back. Conservatives anticipated fights like this one.
That's why shutting the government is really what the Democratic Party wants to do. I would love to have a conversation about extending the tax credits for health care. Absolutely. But I would remind everybody, too, this was designed by the Democratic Party to expire at the end of the year. This is not something taken by the Republicans. They were designed to expire.
Some have threatened the government shutdown if they can't shut down this law. Now, knowing you can offer your family the security of health care, that's priceless. Now you can do it for the cost of your cable bill or less.
And when I logged on, I was like, no, this is very bad. This is much higher than we were currently paying.
Their current plan costs $450 a month with a $5,000 family deductible. The bronze plan, she found, will cost her $650 a month with a deductible somewhere between $3,500 and $6,000.
Definitely, I was expecting to see more options or more affordable plans available.
He was quoted $838 a month with a $1,000 deductible, and that is after taxpayers kick in a $150 per month subsidy.
I was hurt. I was truly hurt because of the fact that I was expecting better.
She learned her cheapest option under the Affordable Care Act is between $357 and $387 a month with a $6,000 deductible.
If you like your insurance plan, you will keep it. No one will be able to take that away from you. It hasn't happened yet. It won't happen in the future.
But it is happening.
What did you find out?
That my insurance was going to be completely different, and they were going to be replaced with 10 new plans that were going to fall under, the regulations of the Affordable Care Act.
Her insurer, Kaiser Permanente, is terminating policies for 160,000 people in California.
Now I'm being forced to choose from a bunch of new plans that I don't want to choose from that are all more expensive.
The government says the cost of mid-level health plans next year will increase by an average of 25%. That will hit consumers in 39 states. Major carriers are dropping out in some markets. About 1 in 5 consumers will be able to choose from only one provider. Government numbers show about 2.5 million Americans not currently enrolled could be eligible for subsidies to offset cost increases.
We need a bigger understanding of why this is happening, because the idea was not only to spread coverage around, but that by spreading the coverage around, not only would it help people get more preventative care, but then it would ultimately bring the cost down, and instead the premiums are skyrocketing.
There are also those who claim that our reform efforts would ensure illegal immigrants. This too is false. The reforms I'm proposing would not apply to those who are here illegally.
Just how much do undocumented immigrants cost the federal government in emergency Medicaid?
What we found was that emergency Medicaid actually encompasses only less than 1% of total Medicaid spending. They want to reduce wasteful spending or bloat. This is really not the way to do it.
What we're doing is saying simply we want to keep the government open, and health care is at the top of our agenda.
But are Democrats demanding health care for illegal aliens?
Democrats are demanding health care for everybody.
Do you think undocumented immigrants should have access to federally funded health care?
I believe personally that health care is a human right.
Federal law prohibits the expenditure of taxpayer dollars on providing health care to undocumented immigrants. Nowhere have Democrats suggested that we're interested in changing federal law.
Raise your hand if your government plan would provide coverage for undocumented immigrants.
Democrats find themselves in a place is we've shut down the government to protect subsidies for an insurance marketplace that funnels $800 billion a year into the pockets of all these insurance companies. Have Democrats boxed themselves into a corner fighting for a system that ultimately, to get the thing that you want, they're going to have to abandon?
Yes.
Ooh, the Affordable Care Act, not so affordable. And that's really what's going on, is that Democrats are fighting for a failed system, and it makes no sense whatsoever. It really doesn't. Obamacare has been a failure across the board. It's never helped anyone. It's made things more expensive, and it's just been yet another abject failure of Democratic policymaking. But somehow they're going to fight tooth and nail and make sure the rest of the country suffers so they can continue failed policies. They can continue giving illegal aliens health care. And also, of course, so that they can add in of all sorts of ridiculous additional funding sources.
Can you just speak to some of the programs that Democrats want funding for in the $1.5 trillion list of demands? We've heard things like $13.4 million for civic engagement in Zimbabwe, $3.9 million for LGBTQ democracy grants in the Balkans, things like this. You guys say this is about saving healthcare, but how do these pet projects fit
Yeah, we
in?
have no idea what you're talking about or what Republican extremists fed you those talking points. But the reality is what we are doing is defending the health care of the American people. Yeah, we do want to restore the fact that the largest cut to Medicaid in American history has been visited upon the American people by Donald Trump and Republicans, even though they promised to love and cherish Medicaid. But instead of doing that, they cut about $1 trillion from Medicaid. And as a result of that fact, hospitals, nursing homes, and community-based health centers are closing all across the country, including in Republican states like Georgia, like Alabama, and Republican states all across the country. And Republicans have visited the largest cut to Medicaid in American history on their own people.
Oh, man.
That's what we want to restore. We want to avoid the fact that because of what Republicans did in their one big ugly bill, what they did is to trigger the possibility of a $536 billion cut to Medicare, because Republicans have put a bullseye on Medicare and Social Security.
Okay, so the point why I'm showing you that is to show that very clearly he does not deny those claims. It's just deflecting. It's the most slimy political technique of long-term politicians. What they always do is they don't outright lie about something. They just won't answer. They'll just deflect. They'll just say anything and everything they can. Ooh, it's disgusting. It really is. But it really is. What is true is that Americans are having to sacrifice while millions and millions of dollars are going overseas, and while millions and millions of dollars are being spent on illegal aliens in this own country, been given the entirety of the world, also that they can get a few more votes. And that's why I think, and many other people do, that Trump's position on this is the right one. To stand firm and to say that we are not going to budge on this Democrat shutdown, that illegal aliens will never be given free health care in this country.
Well, I think it's a shame that it's shut down because we have the greatest economy, as you were saying before. We have the greatest economy in the world right now, by far, the United States. We have almost 18, now it was 17, now it's $18 trillion being poured into our country, and it's no time for shutdowns. I don't think it's affecting what we're doing, but it's too bad for a lot of people. We have a lot of good people that aren't working right now that should be, and it's because the Democrats want to try and renegotiate a deal that they had negotiated. They want $1.5 trillion given to illegal immigrants who came into the country, and it's going to hurt the health care of citizens of our country that have been paying into it, that have been working hard for it, that really deserve it. So we're never going to do that. It's not going to happen. And I will tell you, there are a lot of good Democrats that really want to make a deal. And I think all we need is 5 Democrats because we have a great support on the Republican side. So I think we need 5 Democrats, and there are a lot of them that want to make a deal. So I think at some point, common sense will prevail. Well, I think,
and that's the bottom line, is that there are far more people that care about actually the American people and aren't just power hungry sociopaths. Most of these people are good people. They're just misguided. And that's the thing that I really want people to focus on, you know? It's just unfortunate, you know, that they're just caring more about politics than they care about, you know, men and women suffering. And honestly, another example of this, about how radical the left has become, is of course what just happened, where Senate Democrats have rejected a bill that would pay essential federal employees during the government shutdown. This, of course, is because guess what? We needed 60 Democrat votes, 60 votes, and we need a few Democrats. And guess what? Can't get it. Yet more of Democrats using suffering as leverage, all so that they can give healthcare to legal aliens. Just crazy. There you go. And this is, of course, just to, make sure that we can pay people that are essential to functioning government. But once again, the Democrats are putting the safety and security and well-being of American people to the wayside so that they can have illegal aliens get a few more benefits. And it's honestly disgusting. It really is, but what are you going to do?